Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to open another Miniverse, and this is their animal series. I actually got this from a friend because I couldn't find them anywhere near me, and they were looking out for which set I wanted, because my dream set was the axolotl one, and they found it, thanks to the cheat sheets. So they sent it over to me, and we're going to open it and craft with it, and I'm super excited. All the packaging in here is so cute. We have multiple little containers, one for the axolotl, one for like these moss balls, and then some little baggies, and of course the little like stand barrel thing. I'm not too sure what the outside of these is supposed to be, but I always thought it looks like kind of like a barrel or something. But yeah, you can take off both sides of this, and there will be feet in the packaging and like a little like holder on top, and then you have a display case stand. Some of these sometimes come with extra shelves. The ones in this one do not. And also I was looking if like the other clipboards fit in here, and they don't, because these have a different opening. But yeah, here's all the sets that we have. So many really cute animals. Of course I got the axolotl, but I also really love the lovebirds. But I think overall all of them are really cute, and they're very simple projects. Some of them come with resin, some of them, actually most of them don't really. But yeah. First of all, we have the glass ball that the little axolotl is going to go in, and we have a little like newspaper clipping thing. I love when they use that as packaging. They did that in the little Hello Kitty Miniverse too. It doesn't really say many things, but the designs are super cute, and you can definitely use these as prop. And then we have some of the most adorable packaging ever. First of all, the water, or in this case the resin, comes in a container that actually looks like a proper like water jug. And then the design of the axolotl on the baggie is so adorable. But yeah, this is just your standard UV resin from their sets in a very cute design. And of course we get tools and accessories. In this case, very simple things. We got the legs for the stand, and we also have some tweezers that we can use to position our stuff. And the legs, they just clip into the bottom. One of mine wasn't the most secure ever, it kept falling out a little bit, but when you have it standing and don't like lift it up continuously, it was actually holding pretty decently. And yeah, you can just place your bowl in there essentially and have a little shelf unit. And of course the tweezers are your standard tweezers. Next up we have the moss balls, and these are so soft. I'm a bit worried that there will be air bubbles collecting on them. And we also got this really cute container. I love these containers because you can just use them as bowls or something, or you know, as Tupperware container for your minis. And the same type container we have for the axolotl, and this one was secured with a little plastic so it wouldn't like move around and possibly damage it. And the details on this are insane. The little leggies are so tiny, and I love that it's like translucent. It really gives like axolotl vibes. But yeah, let's start with the project. I am not fully following their instructions. I'm going to try and minimize air bubbles here because I want this to succeed. Other than the previous fishbowl where I followed them and showed you guys what happens with the air bubbles, I don't want air bubbles. So to minimize that, I mix the like rock base with the resin before curing it, so that there's no way that air bubbles can be trapped in there, and then I'm fully curing it. The next layer I'm putting in the moss balls, and I'm making sure that I cover them completely in the resin so that they will really not collect any air bubbles. So I'm rolling them around here. I'm just using like a little skewer. I found that it's a bit easier with that because I have like more reach inside of the containers. And then I cure them from all sides until they're fully hardened. And next up is the axolotl. So I place it in the middle here, make sure it's covered by enough resin, work the resin around the little moss balls, and then I cure it for quite a while to make sure it's secure, and there were air pockets. I used like a decently shallow pour, and I thought, no way I can get air pockets with like how careful I am. No, I got air pockets continuously, and I think I know why. So previously we got air pockets because the resin cured from the outside in, and inside the resin was still liquid. And like when the resin cures on the outside, the size changes a little bit, so it forms like air pockets on the inside where the resin is still uncured. This time, also it like releases like gases. This time though, I think what happened is that because I cured the layers fully, and the resin actually cured perfectly, it delaminated in between the layers a little bit in certain places, and the air pockets just, you know, collected there. But yeah, I had to remove a lot of them. I just tried to poke them open with my skewer and then just tried to force in some more resin. And I think I got it decently, but I was still a little bit disappointed. I think this Huey resin isn't really made for layering or pouring in one go. But yeah, I never really had those problems with other resin brands of UV resin too much, but with these kit resins that come in these Miniverse, I always have some kind of issue like that. I think the best one I had so far were the ones in the drinks and the one with the like gherkins or like pickles, I guess, because those like also were like technically in places where there was a lot of like embeds inside, so I could cure them in one as one mass and they worked fine. But yeah, with these kind of water tanks I never had any luck. Anyways, moving on to the next project. As you can see, I use some poly like plastic. This is moldable plastic that you can put in hot water. It gets like really pliable. And I'm using like my ball stylus here, and I'm making some half spheres. And then I'm pulling out some of the plastic and I'm like twisting it to get like little spirals. These are gonna be in the inside. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want to use the container to actually make something with it. And to have like a separate little animal tank, so to speak. And once I like had the twist fully cool, I actually heated off one of the ends in my hot water and pressed it on the inside to like form them to the shell. I'm not heating them up so much that they fuse with the shells here, with the half shells. I'm just fusing them enough that they get the rounded shape. And then I can poke holes into these. And maybe some of you will have guessed it, but I am making jellyfish here. I thought the container, the rounded container that we got with the Miniverse actually has perfect potential for a jellyfish tank. Jellyfish are super sensitive and you want like a really like empty, no sharp edges tank, so usually they're rounded tanks. And you know, this just gave me the idea, why not use this for this project? You can also like put your Miniverse like animal or pet inside of the tank. I've seen that before too, like inside of the display, where people got the birds and stuff and they made like a full-on like aviary style thing with like branches and stuff. But yeah, in this case I wanted to stick with the aquatic theme and I just made the jellyfish. So the like polymorph, or the like, you know, moldable plastic is the base here in this case, and then I poke a hole in there, put in some nylon thread, and then I'm heating up the like inside spiral again and fully setting that inside to cover up the knot and to secure it also with that. And then I use some more of my nylon thread, color it with some alcohol markers, and this worked actually really well. And I glued it onto the sides. I'm not really paying attention here to evenness right now. I'm going to cut them later. I just want to make sure that they are long enough to, you know, where I can cut them out to the same length. And then I found this like really thin paper. This is like decorative paper that you usually use for when you're making like tea light, like covers and things like that. Like they come in different colors and they're like almost these wax paper sheets. I think they may be actually. And yeah, I colored one with the same blue that I used for the little arms. And then I made this spiral. I thought that it was a bit empty looking with just like little arms and the spiral in the middle. So I wanted to make a bit more of a like moving spiral, and yeah, I think it looks way better and way more exciting. I did cut like tiny slits on one edge so I can like fray it out a little bit. And then I glued it essentially around the inner tiny spiral that I made out of the plastic before. The inner spiral is still needed for structure, but I guess you can just like make like a little cone shape instead of a spiral. But yeah, this worked super well and they look so cute, and I was surprised how well that came together. And then I decoupaged some of this like thin watercolor effect paper that I had onto like a stronger paper. And I also found like some leftover packaging, clear packaging from something, that I'm also going to cut. And these are going to be like the front and back glass covers for the aquarium. And I'm going to like hold things in place with a 3D print. You can glue these on, but I wanted to make sure that I can open things up if things got tangled and do kind of a maintenance. So I actually designed some really simple caps, and these are literally just like a ring with a little recess, kind of like a lid, and then they're open in the front, and you can just click them on, and they hold well. And with this I can literally just put the paper inside of the ring and just clip it in place and have a backdrop, and then I can put the clear film in front and have like a little foreground. If you don't have leftover packaging, by the way, you can, if you have a laminator or access to one, you can use laminator foil, just like laminate it while it's empty, and then you also have a fairly stable piece of clear foil that you can use. And then it was finally time to put my little guys in place, so I heated up a needle very carefully with my little torch here, and I marked and poked some holes inside of the container. It did need a little bit of a cleanup with my knife, and I did wipe it clean with some isopropyl alcohol in the end, just to make sure that the container is fully clean. And then I poked through like the little strings, tied them off at the lengths I wanted, and cut them. I made sure to leave a little bit of excess so the knot wouldn't be like untying itself. And I tried to like uncurl the nylon thread a little by running my fingernail along it, like kind of in the opposite direction. And it worked fairly well, and I think they look really cute with, you know, how I placed them. And you guys are gonna see later how that looks. But first, let's have a look again at the axolotl. So here you can see there's definitely a ton of micro bubbles in some of the layers, and that's just in between layers. But I think because I used so many layers, they're spaced out where you don't really notice that they're layers. And then like some of the larger bubbles you can kind of still see the remnants of, especially in between the moss. But luckily at the axolotl there's not really any major bubble except for one like small one underneath that you can totally ignore. And you know, in these kind of aquarium type settings, it's very important that the water has oxygen in it. So having these air pockets or air bubbles, you know, maybe makes sense. And I think most boats naturally have air pockets in them, if I remember correctly. Anyways, I don't really have many clues about actually keeping axolotl. Like, I don't know what they specifically need, so I don't know if this is accurate. Obviously there's no filters, no nothing in there, so never keep your animal in, like, first of all, a bowl this tiny. They need way more space, second of all, obviously, without the proper, like, equipment that they need. But yeah, overall, as like a little display piece and just like a little project, this was a ton of fun. Definitely still need to figure out how to properly work the resin. But in this case, this was a fresh kit and the resin worked excellently, even after shipping. So it definitely really seems like my issues before with the non-curing resin have something to do with like shelf life and storage things. And I was also really happy with all the little details they added on the axolotl and stuff, so super happy I got this figure and yeah, this project. And I know some of the other animals do have like a little bit less of a project, because they just put them together, no resin, no nothing. But I think overall the quality of the figures definitely is very good from what I've seen so far. But yeah, next up is this tank, and I'm so happy with how this turned out. You can see in the video I actually found one of those like tiny keychain LEDs. Mine I got from Sophie and Toffee, but I'm gonna put a link down below. I found one on the Amazon UK and Amazon, I think it's Canada websites, but I'm gonna link the UK one so you can see what they are named like and what they look like. I didn't see them anymore on the Sophie and Toffee website. I did see a lot of them on AliExpress though, so if you want to pick something up, they actually perfectly fit in the pre-made hole in this container, which I didn't think they would. I thought I'd have to like drill out the hole, but no, they just plopped in there, and essentially it's like a tiny like keychain twist light LED like torch thing. In this case color changing, but I've seen some that are not color changing as well. And you just twist them to turn them on, and then you twist them open again essentially to like turn them off again. And I think it adds so much to this tank. I think it looks so nice with the background and the light. And because the like jellyfish are a tiny bit translucent, it makes them almost glow a little. And I'm so happy with that. This project overall was so much fun, and I definitely love everything I've seen online about people decorating these kind of displays to be actual like animal enclosures and stuff, and it gives you an extra project. Because let's be real, yes, you have a little project and really cute figures, but the Miniverse things tend to, especially when they're fresh, tend to be like a little more expensive. So having just one like technically 10-minute project may not be worth it for everybody, but if you can find creative ways to like decorate the rest that you get in the box, like you get a lot of little bowls and things like that you can use as containers that are really good quality. You can like, you know, make maybe polymer clay foods in them or something, or you know, you can like make a larger fish tank with a different container. Or like, as I did, decorate like the outside packaging display thing or something. There's a lot of things to like repurpose and do here. So you can definitely like find other projects or other things to like do with the objects you get, which I really like. And I really like that they're not really skimping on like the quality of their packaging. Like, you know, we have the newspaper thing that you can use as decoration that the glass bowl was wrapped in. And we have the plastic bowls that are super perfect. So yeah, super happy with that, and that they're actually trying to keep that kind of quality, at least for now, throughout their packaging, to like make sure people can definitely reuse and repurpose a lot of this stuff. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this project, and which one of these animal sets is your favorite. As I said, and you see mine is the axolotl, but also the lovebirds, but let me know which one would you love to get, or also if you had just the packaging, what kind of like enclosure or decorative piece would you make out of it? And as always, I hope you have a great day. See you next time. Bye bye!